Jewish people are about to observe our annual day of horror, Tisha B'Av, when we not only fast, but we relive the gut-wrenching details of all the atrocities we've suffered throughout history. And it all goes back to the original Tisha B'Av, when 10 of the 12 spies returned and gave a bad report about the land of Israel, turning the hearts of their fellow men against God and against Moshe. And then, as a result, God decreed that in the future, Tisha B'Av would be a terrible day for the Jewish people. It's interesting to note that when the spies are listed by name in Numbers chapter 13, they're not listed in the manner we would expect in the order of the tribal births. The commentators explain that they're listed in order of their personal spiritual greatness. Therefore, you would expect that Yehoshua and Kalev, the two spies that did not go along with the evil plan, would be listed first and second, but they're not. They're listed third and fifth. That means that two of the spies were greater than both of them, and a third was greater than one of them. The spies were incredibly righteous people, leaders of the Jewish people, and yet they strayed. They failed. We know that the greater the person, the stronger the evil inclination, in order to level the playing field. And we've seen so many examples of this in recent history. Quote, great people who have tarnished or ruined their reputations or legacies because they succumbed to temptation. Sin crouches at the door, and that's why the sages tell us that it's a constant battle. You can't trust in yourself until the day of your death. Like the Talmud tells us about the elderly high priest who strayed at the end of his life. Life is a down escalator. Stand on it, you'll be dragged down. It takes a lot of effort just to remain at your current spiritual level. And to grow takes even more effort, but you're rewarded for that struggle. It's also interesting to note that Moshe changed Yehoshua's name from Hosea to Yehoshua before he set out on the mission with the tribes. One commentator explains that he did that as a way of praying for physical protection for Yehoshua. Moshe was worried that the other tribes might attack or kill him because they knew he'd never go along with their sinister plan. He was Moshe's apprentice. He was Moshe's guy. But he didn't change Kalev's name. He didn't need to pray for his physical protection because Kalev was one of the guys. In fact, the spies had no idea that he wasn't going to go along with them until they returned home and he got up and contradicted them. But then why didn't Moshe pray for the spiritual safety of Yehoshua and Kalev? The answer is that Moshe knew you can't pray for someone else's spirituality. And that's why Kalev, on his own, snuck away during the mission and prayed by himself at the tomb of the patriarchs and matriarchs in Hebron. Now that principle, that you can't pray for someone else's spirituality, is simultaneously terrifying and liberating. It's terrifying because it tells us that we are totally on our own. When it comes to your religious level, your relationship with God, you cannot rely on your family, on your friends, on your mentors, on your rabbis. You're walking on a tightrope with no safety net. But on the other hand, it's also liberating because as we've seen throughout history, even in our darkest times, when our bitterest enemies have taken away our liberty, our freedom, our dignity, they've never been able to touch our hearts and our souls and our minds. Nothing stands between you and your relationship with God.